Good morning, students. I welcome you all to today's class. I believe you are all prepared for the class. Get seated with your writing materials and avoid distraction as we continue. Today we'll be treating a topic together again titled Soil Conservation. Soil conservation. But before then, let's take up the correction for last week assignment. Last assignment correction. You are asked to mention 3 implements for ridging. Remember the topic was cultural practices. We treated cultural practices and we stated 3 types of cultural practices like pre-planting operation, planting operation, and post-planting operation, of which ridging is under pre-planting operation. We explained them vividly and you were asked to state the implement for ridging. We have hoe, 1, digger, tractor as well can be used for ridging. Let's mark. I believe you are with your biro and your book with the assignment in your front there. That is the correction for question 1. We as well have crops that need to be processed before consumption. Remember, processing was under post-planting operation. There are some crops that require us to process them before they can be consumed. For example, cassava as 1, cocoa seed, and coffee seed. These are the crops. There are many others. These are the specific ones stated here that require processing before final consumption. They are referred to as raw materials. They can be transformed into different produce, into different products. We know the byproduct of cocoa seed and the byproduct of coffee. Beverages are derived from them. Cassava, you have different food that are derived from cassava. You have gari, semo, and others. So let's take note of these corrections, very important. Let's continue with today's topic. The objective of the topic. 1. Define soil conservation. 2. Discuss ways of conserving soil nutrients. 3. State the importance of soil conservation. 4. Outline factors contributing to loss of soil nutrient. Factors contributing to loss of soil nutrient. Let's take note of this objective. These are what you are expected to know at the end of this topic. Let's go straight to the meaning of soil conservation. Meaning of soil conservation. Soil conservation is simply defined as intelligent use of soil and soil water so that enough plant nutrients are available to plant for growth and production. Intelligent use of soil. Intelligent use of soil and soil water. A farmer is required to make use of his soil judiciously, is required to make use of the soil intelligently in order to ensure that nutrients are always available for plant growth and production. When the soil is continuously being used without proper care, the soil will lose its nutrients. Remember, we have treated soil fertility and what can promote soil fertility and reduce the fertility of the soil. So, let's look to ways of conserving soil. Ways of conserving soil. Generally, soil nutrients. 1. Prevention of bush burning. Prevention of bush burning. Very important for you to note that bush burning will definitely expose the soil to erosion. Bush burning will expose the soil to erosion and as well destroy the microorganisms that help to bind the soil particles together. So when bush burning is being prevented, a farmer then is trying to conserve the soil. 2. Adoption of better farming practice like crop rotation. adoption of better farming practice like crop rotation. Remember the definition of crop rotation: planting different crops on a piece of land year after year. Remember the principles of crop rotation: that deep-rooted plants or crops are planted alongside with shallow-rooted crops. Crop rotation helps to retain the soil nutrient. So, when a farmer embarks on crop rotation method, the soil thereafter will be conserved. Avoidance of overgrazing. Avoidance of overgrazing. You discover that in this picture, you have many animals that are grazing on this land. When many animals are allowed to graze on a particular land, it exposes the soil to erosion. It exposes the soil to direct sun ray, evaporation will take place. Few animals should be allowed to graze on land in order for the farmer to conserve the nutrient effectively. Many animals, when allowed to graze on this soil, can lead to the destruction of the soil nutrients because erosion can easily take place and leaching can take place as well. So let's take note of that a farmer should avoid overgrazing. Few animals should be allowed to graze. Many animals should be prevented from grazing on a particular farmland. We have prevention of deforestation. What then is deforestation? Illegal falling down of trees. The illegal falling down of trees. The trees are not being used economically. And when deforestation takes place, it exposes the soil to as well erosion. Direct sun ray, evaporation can take place, which can then wash away the soil nutrient. The leaves that are supposed to be deposited on the soil, which over time can add to the soil nutrients, are then destroyed. Deforestation then can expose the soil, can reduce the nutrient of the soil. So, it is important for a farmer to prevent deforestation in order to conserve the soil nutrients. I believe we are following. We are talking about ways of conserving soil nutrients, like prevention of bush burning, which can expose the soil to erosion, and killing of the microorganisms in the soil. Microorganisms that help to bind the soil particles together. Adoption of better farming practice like crop rotation is still another way. Crop rotation, when the farmer practices crop rotation, then is trying to conserve the soil nutrients. Avoidance of overgrazing. A farmer is encouraged to allow few animals to graze on the land. When many animals are allowed to graze on the land, they eat up the grasses and expose the soil to erosion. We have prevention of deforestation. Trees should not be destroyed illegally without being used economically. Then avoidance of clean clearing. Clean clearing can as well expose the soil to erosion. Avoidance of clean clearing. When the farmer avoids clean clearing, as you can see a farmer trying to remove the plants or the weeds directly on the soil surface. When this takes place, the farmer leaves the ground, the soil bare, without any plant on it. That can expose the soil to direct sun ray, evaporation can take place, and as well erosion can take place. And when erosion takes place on the farmland, it can wear away the topsoil nutrient. Let's take note of that. Then avoidance of land pollution can as well help in conserving soil nutrient. Also, we have mulching. When a farmer engages on mulching, practicing mulching, we know what mulching is. Using dry plant materials and covering the surface of the soil. The farmer then is conserving the soil. Mulching can as well help. Use of cover cropping as well. Organic manuring can as well help in conserving the soil. Take note of the three I've mentioned now: mulching, cover cropping, and organic manuring, which I believe we have treated before. We have treated mulching as a process of using plant materials in covering the soil surface to avoid erosion and as well evaporation. Use of cover cropping, planting leguminous crops, or you call it creeping crops like groundnuts, beans, to prevent erosion, and as well organic manuring. Organic manuring involves the use of, we have farmyard manure, using plants and animal matter, the remain of plants and animal matter in enriching the soil. It helps in enriching the soil. Let's take note of that. All these means are ways of conserving the soil. I believe we are all following. Let's see ways in which plant nutrients are lost in the soil. Ways in which plant nutrients are lost in the soil. Ways in which plant nutrients are lost in the soil. 1. Erosion. 2. Leaching. 3. Bush burning. 4. Plant uptake. These are the four major ways in which plant nutrients are lost from the soil. So then it is essential for the farmer to conserve the soil to avoid these ways the nutrients can be lost. Let's take it one after the other. The first one is erosion. What is erosion? We define erosion as the wearing away, or you use the word washing away of the soil surface by natural agents such as water, wind, and animals. The wearing away of the soil surface can as well be defined as the wearing away of the top layer of the soil by some agents like water, wind, and animal. When it takes place through rainfall, through water, it is known as water erosion. If wind wear away the top layer of the soil, it's called wind erosion. If it is done by animal or man, it can be done by animal or man. These are ways by which erosion can take place. When erosion occurs, it leaves the land bare. It destroys the top layer of the soil. When crops are planted, it leads to poor yield of crops. You can see what erosion has done to this land. This is the ground level. This is the ground level. And it has left this land now on an undescribable shape, because this is supposed to be the ground level, and here has been eaten off. This place has been eaten off by erosion. The soil surface has been worn away. It has been washed by water or by wind, which has given it this shape. Let's take note of this. Method of preventing soil erosion. 1. Construction of channels. It is important for a farmer to prevent erosion. It is important for every farmer to prevent soil erosion in his or her farmland. We have just mentioned 1. Construction of water channels. Channels should be constructed around the farmland which water will pass through after heavy rainfall in order to avoid erosion. 2. Avoidance of indiscriminate bush burning. Avoidance of indiscriminate bush burning. Bush burning can expose the soil to erosion, as we have said before. 3. Cover cropping. We know what cover cropping is. The planting of legumes or creeping crops. Legumes or creeping crops to cover the soil surface in order to prevent erosion. There are some crops that are planted that are called creeping crops. They act as creeping crops. They act as cover crops. For example, we have beans, groundnut, melon. These are creeping crops. When they are planted on the farmland, they protect the soil from direct rainfall and erosion. If you can watch very well and see this farm, you discover that the crops are well covered. It is difficult for erosion to take place in this kind of farmland because the crops are covered around the land and erosion will find it difficult to take place. It is difficult for evaporation to take place. It is difficult for erosion to take place in this kind of farmland. So planting of leguminous or creeping crops like melon can help to prevent soil erosion. We have contour plowing. Contour plowing. That's making of ridges across the slope to control erosion. Making of ridges across the slope to control erosion. Ridges should be made around the farm or across slopes to prevent direct water runoff. Let's take note of that. Control grazing. We have said this before. Overgrazing can expose the soil to erosion. So when few animals are allowed to graze on a farmland, it helps to control erosion. In comparison with the first picture shown, where you see many cows on the land grazing directly, you discover that in this one, you have few animals here. When few animals are allowed to graze, it is difficult for these animals to expose the soil to erosion. But when many animals are allowed to graze, the soil is left bare and erosion can easily take place. Terracing. Terracing is another way of controlling soil erosion. Under terracing, steps are made on slopes to control erosion. That will prevent easy runoff of the water or wind. Let's take note of that. Creation of windbreak or shelter bed. Creation of windbreak or shelter bed can as well control erosion. Creation of windbreak or shelter belt. In this case, there are some crops that are planted that form belt covered in form of canopies of trees. They cover direct rainfall. They prevent direct rainfall and direct sunshine on the soil surface. They are planted in form of a belt. Let's take note of that. Then we have strip cropping. Strip cropping. This involves dividing the farmland into different strips and planting different kinds of crops. Different crops are planted on it. Divide the farmland into different strips or portions and different crops are planted on the farmland. All this means helps to prevent soil erosion. Another one is afforestation. Remember afforestation. Afforestation can as well help to prevent erosion, which involves planting of trees. Planting of trees is afforestation. We have reforestation as well. Afforestation, reforestation. Under reforestation, when you remove one plant, carrying out deforestation, another plant or another tree should be planted in the place you remove one. 2 or 3 trees should be planted as well in order for the farmer to control erosion. That is reforestation. Take note, afforestation and reforestation can help to prevent soil erosion. I believe you are following. All right, let's take the next one, leaching. Leaching is a way by which soil nutrients are lost or plant nutrients are lost from the soil. Leaching involves washing away of plant nutrients from the soil down through the soil profile by heavy rainfall. That is leaching. the washing away of the plant nutrient from the soil down through the soil profile by heavy rainfall. Then the rain dissolves the plant nutrient and wash them down the top soil. The higher the rain, the greater the rate of soil nutrient removed by leaching. When you have heavy rainfall, leaching can take place. Erosion involves wearing away of the top layer of the soil, while leaching involves washing of the soil nutrient. The nutrient is washed away directly, and which we know is very dangerous to plant. It can lead to low crop yield because nutrient has been washed away. Let's take note of that. The next one is bush burning. Bush burning. We have talked about this before, which lead to the exposure of the soil surface to action of rainwater and wind. Then erosion can take place. Continuously burning of the bush can expose the soil to action of rain and wind, which then can lead to erosion and evaporation. Let's take note of this. Then plant uptake. Plant uptake. Under plant uptake, harvested crops remove nutrients from the soil. When plants or crops are planted on a piece of land, and when they are harvested, they remove some nutrient from the soil. Over time, that can lead to loss of soil nutrient. Are we following? Plant uptake. Remember that plant takes up nutrient from the soil, and when the crops are harvested and taken away, the nutrients are lost. After many years, the loss becomes quite significant, leading to poor growth and yield of subsequent crop. When it is done continuously, that is under continuous cropping, the nutrients of the land can be lost. Let's take note of that. It's very important. All right, we have just discussed soil conservation, ways of conserving soil nutrient, and factors that can lead to loss of soil nutrients. Take note of this. We have treated erosion, leaching, bush burning, and plant uptake. These are ways in which plant nutrients can be lost from the soil. Take note of the meaning of erosion and so on. The meaning of erosion, the meaning of leaching, and as well plant uptake. I believe we have taken in something on this topic. I will quickly tell us importance of conserving the soil. It helps to maintain the soil fertility. When a farmer conserves the soil fertility is maintained. You can read up this reference book to get it very well. Essentials of Agricultural Science for Junior Secondary by Ernest Chukwudi Ani, and Agricultural Science for JSS2 by Omosekeji. Omosekeji. Take note of that. You read through the importance of soil conservation. One is that it helps to maintain the soil fertility. It helps to control erosion. Erosion is controlled when a farmer conserves the soil. It reduces the rate of oxidation. It reduces the rate of oxidation and as well evaporation. It enables nutrients to be available for plant growth. It enables nutrients to be available for plant growth. All year, year after year, the land soil fertility is retained when a farmer conserves the soil. Let's take up the assignment. Outline 5 human activities. Outline 5 human activities. Take note of this. Human activities that can lead to loss of soil nutrient. There are many human activities that can lead to loss of soil nutrient. Then send your response to the email below, vera.okene@greenlandhall.org. Thank you for your time. I remain Vera Okene. Bye.